Welcome to Talmudic Treasures. Today we're learning Megillah, the last page in Tractate Megillah, namely page 32, in which the Talmud tells us that Kol HaKori B'lo Nima, when a person reads the Torah, presumably means in a synagogue in public, without reading it in a way with its proper cantillations, without singing it, as well as V'shona B'lo Zimra, for a person who learns the other sections of the Torah, including Mishnah, Talmud, and does it without any singing, without any beautiful voice connected to it. On this, they quote the sentence in Ezekiel, V'gam ani nosati lehem chukim lo tovim, literally that I've given you these laws which you consider to be not good, in which this is a verse which is actually a klala, which is a curse for a person who has done obviously things which are very wrong. And the Talmud ends up saying that just because you don't have a great voice, it's hard to imagine that we would apply this verse on such an individual. And the Talmud ends up coming up with a different interpretation as to what this verse is referring to. What type of person are we dealing with? Someone who obviously has done something which is much more severe. But we do learn something very, very powerful from this message and from this Talmud that tells us the power of singing. Tosfot explains the reason why it was so important for them to sing when they learned was because, unlike nowadays in which the Talmud is actually written down, this was considered to be Torah Sheba'al Peh, the oral tradition. And the oral tradition was exactly that. It was not written, but rather it was said from teacher to student. It was passed on from generation to generation, and it was all through memorization. And therefore, the way that they used to go about memorizing things was by singing them. And by having a tune connected to certain words, it made it easier for them to memorize. So that certainly makes sense why it had tremendous value and significance. But I believe it's come to tell us something even deeper than that. And that is that when a person could read and learn, they could be doing it on an intellectual level. But when a person sings, it shows that they have a much deeper emotional connection to that which they are singing. A person is very much connected to a song as it brings out a certain feeling that is within you. And therefore, a person who learns Torah and studies with song, it shows that they have a love and a deeper connection than a person who would just be reading it without singing.